Well, I reckon, copy this, Kenku that. Yep, so it's just have like a raven beak open with spaghetti just flying out of it. That's a very good observation, Shlomo. Well, everyone, ta-da! Here is a blank character sheet, and you know what we're gonna do with this? Kenku is the race I will for sure never play. A lot of, you know, it can be a lot of fun, depending on how you role play it. It could be, well, it could be difficult or annoying for some. So, talk to your DM, and if you have to modify some things, then modify it. You beat Luigi's Mansion tonight? It was pretty good. Oh, so that's the video game that you've been streaming lately, then. Whoa, Alexander. Speaking of folks that I haven't seen in a while, good morning to you, Alexander. For those of you who don't know, Zeta here broadcasts a homebrew Legend of Zelda 5th edition, actually 2 games set in a homebrew Legend of Zelda 5th edition world. And you also play some video games on the side. You are welcome to drop a link over to your channel, Zeta, if you'd like. I love the idea of Kenku spellcasters because you know all their verbal components are mimicked. I think Kenku will, or can work for one-shots, but playing for a year like that, you know what? It'd take dedication. You'd have a great story to tell after you did that. Though, fortunately or unfortunately for tonight's character, Kenkus are not on the menu. As you can see, we have our character randomizer. And remember, this is based off of the old worksheet that we've been using for over a year. This is nice and refined. I can play with the filters, so if we ever wanted to, you know, build something special, then we can. This has all of the all the printed material ready to go in it. Right, so we go from you know, player's handbook. The Matty Morgs is coming down to things like for the demi-humans, you know, do you favor your orcish descent or your human? Oh, pardon, in some way. But suddenly, we go from 9 races, and once we add all of the, and we'll even add in the D&D time stuff, we are up to 35 races. And if we truly wanted to randomly generate something, then we could roll a 35-sided die and pick from anything. Video games, D&D, and art, though you've been a bit light on the art lately. You make tokens and maps primarily, don't you, Zeta? But you know what? For tonight, we're keeping it nice and simple. We're going to go player's handbook only with my quote-unquote sub-race considerations. Which they're not sub-races, but eh. That put in work last night, by the way. I really enjoyed the first character we made. The second character we made last night was an amazing character, and I absolutely love her. Have I been hitting the Latin? I've just been, Zulurpai, I've just been running on empty for a while now. But no lavender tonight. That was definitely a mistake. It was interesting because, you know, I hadn't thought of that. That the evening that I'm like, why am I so tired? Meanwhile, I put on a lavender-scented, like, mustache wax to help control stuff. So, of course, I'm breathing in, you know, lavender scent to calm, you know, that calms me. Maps and character art, you made your own emotes and your own overlays and everything. That's some excellent talent, Zeta. Josh, the NES nerd. Hey, welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm well. I managed to squeeze in a little bit of a dinner before going live here, and I look a little extra scrappy. I also popped in the shower real quick just to freshen up because I've been kind of I've been kind of lagging lately, and I wanted to at least appear not as entirely scrubby, although, of course, coming out with, like, wet hair, you know, I look like I'm, whatever, a sweaty-toothed madman. I must give my barbaric yawp. But you know what? Let's make a character. Enjoying the randomness, letting RNG flow through us, because this is the one place on Twitch where RNG is absolutely welcome. And we can appreciate it because it's all storytelling prompts or storytelling opportunities. First things first, we're going to roll a percentile set to determine, are we going to have a female character, a male character, or multi-class, in which case we will roll again. Let's open up our dice roller with a click off screen here. Bip. And here we go. Percentile. 54. We have a male character. Now I'm going to roll a 10-sided die and figure out which race we have. 3. Race number 3, we have another elf. And I'll give equal chances for a drow, a high elf, or a wood elf. 2, another high elf. Ooh. 2 high elves in a party. Is that going to help us with our setting? Are they related? Or are they in a relationship? Are they classmates or something like that? No, we'll find out. So we have a male high elf. I'm going to use the Morg's distribution for alignment, and let's find out what our alignment will be. I rolled a 19. That is neutral good. Alright, so let's start filling in. We have a male high elf. They're medium-sized. Neutral good. Classmates in the second one calls the first one senpai. Well, hey, keep that in mind. We might be able to use that. Sorry, hang on. I got to scoot off camera for a second here. There we go. So yeah, it could be something along those lines. We'll see what their social standing is, their background, all these other prompts, and we can have some fun with it. All right, now, at which level are we going to be generating this character? Let's roll a percentile and find out. Rolled a 33. We're going to be generating a level 8 character. That means we have access to 2 ability score improvements, ASIs, aka stat bumps, where you can increase your ability score by 2 to 1 stat, or 1 to 2 stats, or abilities. I'm going to see if any of those are going to get replaced by feats. On a percentile, I rolled at 11. It's all stat. It's just natural stat bumps we're going to distribute. Now, for our background. That's right. I save, with the exception of height and weight, I save class for almost last. There are... Pardon. In the player's handbook, there are 18 different... There's technically 13, but as you can see, a couple of these have... they're an option, like a different type of the same thing. So I'm going to manufacture an 18-sided die and roll it. We got a 4. We are a spy, a criminal, or, a spy is an alternate take on a criminal. Now there are 12 classes, and I have this big golden D12 that I am just raring to go and press and find out. What is the adventuring profession of our spy? How does this character go about his spying? 8. A ranger. Sylvia, yesterday's high elf was a chaotic neutral at level 4. Yes, Zular Pie. Ivlon, you are in love with the Netflix She-Ra. You're binge watching it. Is it a... I think I remember hearing something about that coming out. Is that like a reboot? Is it a continuation? I'm glad that you're really enjoying it, though. Nelshir? Is it a soft sh? Or is it a hard ch? Nelchir? Anyway, hello and welcome. Now, for the Ranger, I'm going to roll odds or evens. It's going to be Beastmaster or Hunter. Odds. We have a Beastmaster Ranger. Manufacturing her at level 8. We can close that up. Now, for class features, Rangers are going to get a couple things here. A favored enemy and a fighting style. As well as, and we're going to get some Natural Explorer, so we get a couple choices. Now, we can leave them to be choices, or if we wish to randomly roll them, that is going to help us to continue to build a world and to tell a story. You think it's a reboot? Oh, okay. It's an extremely awesome reboot at that. Like the new Voltron. I have heard very good things of the new Voltron. So we'll keep this in mind because we'll need to go back and reference this when we unlock those abilities. So lastly, well, let's go back to a high elf. And here are our stats. Let's roll a percentile to find out how old our character is. We rolled 5. Oh, he is a child prodigy. So someone born with a superior intellect, just very good circumstances. Obviously it's very rare that we roll a child prodigy here. Six years old and is a spy. You want to talk about interesting storytelling? What happened? Did, this is a high elf, lots of access to magic. Was this character bestowed through magic the means to contemplate things at a higher functionality? Is this kind of a reincarnation? Did the old body pass away and was brought back in a new body? Through druidic magic or clerical magic, or just because we had someone who was very powerful in his own way? Is this just the luck of genetics or socioeconomic status? That's why I want to include things like child prodigy as an option, because now we can come up with a lot of interesting story elements about how can someone so young be pulled into an adventure? What does he or she know or comprehend? What is this take on the world? You have a session tomorrow. I have an idea for an encounter that calls for the party to make perception checks. How do you guys feel about player putting up an investigation after failing a seemingly random perception check? The character doesn't realize whether they've passed or failed. Now the player might know, oh, I got a 5. Oh. And in that case, if the player's fishing, like, oh, but I'm gonna keep checking because I just know something's there. Your character, to the best of his or her ability, took a look around, and you didn't find anything. your character would be, you know, unless there's something really persistent that is nagging at them to constantly be paranoid about checking around them. You know, after the check is made, if you don't get it, your character didn't see it and doesn't know about it. And that's a bit of a roleplay challenge for the person piloting that character. Must be the result of a government program. That could very well be, Vassal. So base height for high elves is 4'6", and there's a height modifier of 2d10 inches. I think because of the unique, the unique nature of this character being a child, we can, you know, we can limit that, and maybe we can keep it, you know, maybe a D6 or something. Right, because 4'6", you know, if you minned out, that means that the height for elves is between 4'8" and I mean, so 4'26", so that would be 6'2". If we have such a youngling here, let's just roll a D6. 4. So we are 4 feet, 10 inches tall. We're going to take that same 4 and multiply it by 1d4. By 4, so we're adding 16 pounds to a base weight of 90. Although that, we could probably take the base weight down a little bit here too. And probably put it at 96 if we lower the base weight to 80. All right, so we have a basic outline of our character, and I think it's already primed us to start thinking, how can a character like this exist? What are some of his traits? What are the circumstances? Are we writing down on the sheet that he is in fact 6 years old and this prodigy? Or if he's not a reincarnation or something along those lines, is this simply something that the player and the dungeon master colluded upon? And the DM said, "Yeah, just write down that you're a 6-year-old elf, but has these, you know, has this totally spies kind of style training and mentality, and roll with it and see what the party does, because at some point during the story we could have a big reveal, and wouldn't that be fun?" Is an adult mind in a child's body possible through some enchantment? Oh, yeah. All sorts of stuff, Zuler Pie. It could be a child. What if a child's body is possessed by a ghost? You know, what if we get... and I have not seen the movie, so while we're speculating on a bunch of stuff, I'm going to say, you know, in the movie Detective Pikachu, we have a Pikachu here. I mean, almost the same size and weight. And yet we have this small little woodland creature that is able to talk and deduce and drink coffee. Now, there's no spoilers. I'm not hinting at anything. I have no idea what goes on in Detective Pikachu, and please don't spoil it in chat. But something happened, right? And what'll it be? Let's continue in our generation to find out. There's a couple more things that we need to roll up. And if we go over to Chapter 4 in our player's handbooks, we're going to go to Criminal, and we're going to consider Spy as a different form of criminal activity. More about espionage than, you know, pickpocketing kind of a thing. We have 8 different kinds of criminal, which can be applied to being a spy as well. I'm going to roll a D8. Actually, I'm going to roll 3D8. So we can find out our criminal specialty, our 2 personality traits. Then I'm going to roll 3D6 so we can establish our ideal, our bond, and our flaw. And by the way, for you all having that confidence booster and talking about your experiences in chat, I see it, I recognize it, and I very much appreciate it. That is exactly what this kind of time together and questions asked and you all sharing your experiences, that's exactly what is supposed to happen. So 3D8 and 3D6. 7, 1, 2. So we're spy number 7. And we have a 1 and a 2. Whoops. For our personality traits. Now for our 3D6. 1, 4, and 6. These are all placeholders. I don't know what these mean just yet. We'll get to it soon enough. Right now, that doesn't matter because I want our outline. I want us to start thinking about some of the basic tenets of this character. Hello, Diadems, and welcome to you. We have the basics, and hey, remember, as a high elf, we also get elven weapon training, but of course, being a ranger, we're going to be proficient with all weapons. And we also get this wizard cantrip, because high elves, as a society, tend to focus on edumacation, and so they'll teach their younglings at least one cantrip. Hey, Coffee Cat. Is Critical Role on a break? Whew, look at that. Over 52,000 people watching. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Crit rolls on break. Okay. Well, you came in at an interesting time. If you want to put your noodle to work here, we have a 6-year-old high elf child prodigy spy that is a Beastmaster Ranger. And the particular type of spy he is, well, let's determine that. Number 7, a pickpocket. So this would mean, in spy terms, this is us trying to socially schmooze and I don't know, and try and find documents. This is a little bit more on the espionage side. It's not just being a pickpocket necessarily. You could also be planting evidence or planting some sort of magical tracker. This is a lot of sleight of hand stuff. Some very graceful manipulations. Oh, that's awesome that you were helping out your nephew, Bubonic. So someone, he has small hands, very dexterous here. And as a child as well. I mean, who'd expect, right? If you want to go and get some information, send the kid out, right? Send your little bird out to go watch and to tweet back what's happening. You know, if you're at a political rally and, you know, a politician likes shaking hands and kissing babies, and hopefully not shaking babies and kissing hands, send the kid out, put the magical tracker on or the listening device or whatever. So that's how we can interpret Pickpocket as far as being a spy is concerned. We are going to have a criminal contact. And if we want to say it's not necessarily criminal, we could have this be something like a governmental contact. You know, some sort of a spy agency, which would be, I mean, like privateers are just legally sanctioned pirates. We could be some sort of a special, like a sanctioned thieves guild, you know, that does the work of the realm, just in a very clandestine manner. Could even be something like a Men in Black type situation. Now, what about his personality? Number 1 and 2. Let's delve into it. What's he like? What's his psyche here? Personality trait number 1. I always have a plan for what to do when things go wrong. Very methodical. And number 2. I am always calm no matter what the situation. I never raise my voice or let my emotions control me. Very measured kid who might not even be a kid. I don't even know yet. Yeah, it's a light blue shirt because I have a party Pokemon on here. It's a Slowbro, right? Pop collar, wears pink, backwards hat, lots of beer. He's a Slowbro. This character's ideal, I'm going to scoot this off to the side just a little bit. Our character's ideal is, number 1, honor. I don't steal from others in the trade. So there's some professional courtesy. Kind of a Doogie Howser. Like, I'm going to treat my other doctors with respect, even though I'm very young. I'm going to try and treat them as equals. Now, this says lawful. And you know what our alignment says? Neutral good. How do you square that circle, huh? How dare you have a lawful ideal on a neutral good character? That is impossible. Reroll, just start over. Speed run over. Oliva twist for the name. If this high elf lisps in an endearing way, good for pickpocketing, or maybe not. Hey, we can come up with stuff like that, Zulerpie. If something's leaving an impression, let's explore it. You know, if you're feeling a natural way to be able to apply something, why not? So yes, you can have an ideal that doesn't 100% line up with your alignment. That he can still have honor and be a neutral good character. This one's not even a stretch to try and cover for or anything. All right, now the bond of this character is number 4. James Bond. I will become the greatest spy that ever lived. Or that ever has lived. Again, what if we explore a reincarnation route? Or we come up with, from Detective Conan. Hey, Lith, welcome. You know, so he was already an adult, was investigating something that happened, and ended up being turned into a child by a mysterious substance. And so we have kind of a Detective Conan, or Conan, more, I guess, the quicker pronunciation. Detective Conan would be the barbarian spy. Lots of options, lots of stuff for us to think about. But there's this ambition, I will be the best. And our flaw is number 6, because we are all flawed creatures. I gotta scroll to the next page over here, though. Flaw number 6. An innocent person is in prison for a crime that I committed. I'm okay with that. Ooh. An innocent person is in prison for a crime that I committed, and I'm okay with that. How does this play into his circumstances, his profession? What happened? What happened? Let's talk about it. Yeah, there we go, Coffee. Yeah, oh, you know what? It's a Beastmaster Ranger as well, so, I mean, going out and befriending the animals can give him a lot of information, especially as a spy. So we could have an Ash Ketchum, right? Goes out and tames a bunch of animals. This kid is a Pokemon trainer, says Coffee Cat. This is emerging as a great character. Zulurpai, one step at a time. We produce a result, we stop, we think about it, we take that one new thing into consideration, and we continue on. Playing Pokemon is always the right plan, says Fallon. He's professional, he knows the job and what it takes. The occasional bystander is acceptable if it means getting the job done by his idea of professionalism. Get him a mystical rodent? Well, he will have an animal companion. And yeah, 12-sided guy, it could be something along the lines of he knows that someone's in jail. And maybe he's saying it's for his own good or her own good. Or once I bring down the big bad evil guy, that will redeem the person who's been in jail. I can't do anything about the jail time. But this is, you know, this person in jail is making sure that I can avenge everyone else that the killer, that the killer had murdered. Or I can redeem my honor or something along those lines. Hey, Rytel. Tesla. You cut a Lapras? I think it'd be deeper if it was a previous encounter with a friend who took the fall for something for the greater good. Ah, okay. So in this case, a friend stepped up. Okay, yeah. I'm picking up what you're saying here, Nelshir. So a friend stepped up, realizing that our character was going to be in trouble, confessed to the crime and went to jail to save his friend. Ooh. Ooh. As James from Team Rocket might express. And if, oh my, yes. Hey, lazy monkey. This is something else to think about. We have a criminal contact. If we're a spy, though, is criminal more like a government contact, you know? Kind of a X-Files thing, you know, where you have your department chief that Mulder and Scully talk to. That's actually how I naturally say, ooh. All right, so we have our prompts ready for our character. Let's continue to tell the story, because Rangers especially are products of their environment. And by the time we hit level 8, we're going to have some fun stuff we can play around with. Including, by the way, we are a high elf. Let's go to elves and see what we get for being an elf. Our dex score increases by 2. We have a walking speed of 30 feet. 15, 15, 0 for climb, swim, fly. We have 60 feet of dark vision. We have proficiency in the perception skill, so that's going to get filled in. And we have Fey ancestry, which is going to give us advantage versus being charmed. And also we can't be magically put to sleep. We can trance for 4 hours instead of have to sleep for 8. And we also know Common and Elven. As a high elf, we are going to have our intelligence increased by 1. We're going to get elf weapon training, but honestly, that's going to get written over with our martial training from being a ranger. So for weapons, it's really just going to be all simple and martial. We are going to learn from being a high elf a cantrip that is off the wizard spell list using intelligence to cast, and an extra language. There we go. Hello, Hypnotic Gamer. It can make for quicker travel if you can get the full rest, and so you're not exhausted as often. You're listening while driving? No problem. Hey, this is a podcast that can, you know, not just be listened to, but I mean we have PDFs. Aren't they looking amazing? It's very, you know, 3D visual. We need 8K 120 FPS 3D. Uh, 12-sided, if we had rolled that we would take a feat, we would do so. But we rolled that we're going to go just pure stat bumps. Whatever you do, do not shout look out. I will not. Yes, the shirt is, I guess it's just light enough. You know, it's just enough blue to be green. Well, 8-sided, the character's only level 8. You can get another ASI at 12, 16, and 19. Plenty of opportunities. I'm like a 90s screensaver. All right, so something else for us to think about will be, what is the cantrip that our character learned? Now, let's head over to Ranger. Rocco's Modern Life. Streaming day is a very dangerous day. You know, I didn't know that this would I didn't know that this would be so reactionary. A fire-producing cantrip would be convenient? Well, there are certainly ones that can do so, Lazy Monkey. There we go. We're a ranger. This is what we have to worry about. Being a ranger... Whoops, I put my speed in the wrong spot. 30, 15, 15, 0. I put the speed over in the hit die. We are level 8, so we have 8 D10 hit die, because that is our hit die for the class. That's our natural recovery ability. We're proficient in light armor, medium armor, and shields. Simple martial weapons, no tools. Our saving throws are strength and dexterity. Now we get to choose 3 skills from animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. If you're the player of this character, you could ask your DM and say, look, if I'm a pickpocket, could I replace one of these skills with sleight of hand? Or would you allow me to take sleight of hand as my racial skill instead of perception? Yeah, the cantrip is from being a high elf. And mending could be very useful while you're out. We have not yet decided that, Lazy Monkey. We're going to get to that here shortly. Druids, monks, and clerics operate off of wisdom for their magical abilities. Given that he has been trained as a spy, I imagine stealth would be important. If we are a Beastmaster Ranger, I mean, there's spells for it, but we can also, I would imagine that animal handling would be important. And, well, let's take a look at his background. I always have a plan for what to do when things go wrong, so we're already good in perception. I'm always calm no matter what. Oh, you know what? That could be investigation. I'm always calm no matter what the situation. I never raise my voice or let my emotions control me. Honor. I don't steal from others in the trade. I will become the greatest spy that has ever lived. And an innocent person is in jail for a crime that I committed, and I'm okay with that. Well, maybe we can use our magic on animals then. I think insight and investigation. Insight and investigation can help him maintain his calm and to put out this mature beyond his years kind of presence. Welcome back, Marcus. Blood Hunter 2 if you want to stay or stray away from the official stuff, says Lith. Oh, wait, did I put, I don't think that I put down the skills that I get that with oh, you know what? Shame on me. I didn't put down our goodies that we get from our background. We get deception and stealth already. So deception and stealth. which means we can go back and put animal handling. Yay, that frees something up. Hey, Marcus. Yes, I did. Before going live, I hopped in the shower real quick just to rinse off, because I've been kind of dragging today, and I wanted to at least appear somewhat fresh. Although it has left me with kind of some damp-looking hair. Mage hand cantrip, pickpockets at a distance. That could work as well. We're going to get some tool proficiencies with a type of gaming set and thieves' tools. Equipment. We're going to get a crowbar. Which, you know what? Many criminals may go on to name their crowbars because of how much work those things can put in. Dark clothes with a hood. And a belt pouch with 15 gold pieces. There we go. Hello, Neo Realms. Welcome. There you go, Marcus. There's a bandit gang. So, Coffee or Diadems, if you can watch the adventures that people go on for experience points, I would appreciate it. Name the crowbar Rip this time? Why is that? What would be the inspiration behind that? Alright, now let's go to Ranger. Haha, here we go. By level 8, we're going to have 4 first-level spells and 3 second-level spells. Or slots, I should say, not the number of spells. Our proficiency bonus is a +3. And we're going to know 5 spells. We're going to get to that in just a little bit, though. Spells are one of the last things that we worry about, because those depend on our ability scores. And right now, it doesn't matter what his ability scores are. We're interested in the character first. Let's see, scale mail or leather armor. We probably have more of a dexterous fighter on our hands here. So probably, I mean, we could go scale mail for medium armor because we have that as training. That could interfere with our sneaking, however. So perhaps as the starting package, in that case, we're actually wearing leathers. 2 short swords or 2 simple melee weapons. Something to think about. What kind of weapons would this character use? If we're talking about, you know, a pickpocket. You know, can you conceal something like a dagger? Or can you do something like a, you know, a sickle? Or... things to think about. A Dungeoneer's pack and or an Explorer's pack. Let's see. Dungeoneering has more stuff for climbing, up or down. And as a spy, you might need to do that time and again. So we can give this character a Dungeoneering or Dungeoneer's pack. A longbow. And a quiver with 20 arrows. I am partially invisible, yes. You like the idea that one end of the crowbar is finely worked metal to shape the non-flat into the head or a crow or raven. I mean, I like the idea that the one end of the crowbar is finely worked metal to shape the non-flat into the head of a crow or raven. Maybe I get what you're saying, 12-sided guy. This could be my natural form. That's right. You can't make those presumptions. This is 2019, and I might be personally offended about things you would have no idea that I'd be offended about. And hold you to my unknown standards. Oh, the non-flat end. Okay, so not the pry bar section? Yeah. Rip because a lot of criminals use their crowbars as weapons too. Gotta go, break's over. Okay, DMs. Thank you for hanging out with us. Crowbar named Rip. Okay, I think I get what he's saying then, Josh. Small crowbars have a hooked end which could have a bird's head shape. Okay. Oh yeah, because there's like the hook that has the pry, right? Almost like snake fangs kind of, but it could also be a bird's beak. And then it comes down, and then there's just like the L-shaped, like the right angle. Or sometimes it's just straight with a slight curve. So you can get, it's like a pry bar more. And because crowbars rip things open. All right, favored enemy. We're actually going to get 2. And let's roll what it will be. We're going to bring back... Dun, 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 favorite enemy. There are 14 different types. There are 14 different types of enemies. I'm going to roll a 14-sided die twice. Three and 8. Celestials. Celestials and fiends. Oh my goodness. How does this change stuff up? How does this change stuff up? Our favorite enemies. Celestials and fiends. That will also mean that we're going to be able to speak Celestial. And then, while we can hunt fiends broadly, because that's devils, demons, and Yugoloths, we get to learn a language. And that's usually split between infernal or abyssal. Why don't I just roll a... let's roll the D12. Odds or evens. Odds, abyssal. Odds. Alright, so we can speak abyssal. Alright, Natural Explorer. There are 8 different biomes. I'm going to roll 2d8 to determine in which territories we're especially good at hunting or tracking our prey. 8 and 2. And so number 8 and number 2 are going to be Coast and Underdark. Underdark would have been first, meaning then... If the Underdark was our original favored terrain, or our natural explorer, surely no mind experiments happen in the Underdark. Surely there's no interesting, you know, psionic or magical things that could explain how we have a child savant in this capacity. Herm. Now we're going to get a fighting style. And what kind of fighter shall we be? Let's roll a d4 and find out. 2. 2 is a defense themed. While you're wearing armor, you gain a +1 bonus to AC. So we're really making the use of the armor that we are wearing. The plot darkens. Is that sarcasm? Yes. As all kinds of mind shenanigans happen in the Underdark. Surely a flump didn't decide to deceive the child into thinking it was a friendly being in the Underdark. And yes, Grimvex, we're doing some PC character creation. Oh, speak of the flump, and he shall a flump. Spellcasting, we're going to get to spellcasting. That'll hold off for a little bit here. We are going to get Primeval Awareness, which is a nice, like, radar ability that we can use. We're going to get Extra Attack. And at level 8, we'll get Land's Stride. Moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs you no extra movement. Excellent. Good. Good. This is just what we get from being a ranger. Now it is time to look at our archetype, which is Beastmaster. So we are going to get a ranger's companion. Choose a beast that's no larger than medium and has a challenge rating of 1/4 or lower. Add your proficiency bonus. There's a lot of modifications, and this sheet can accommodate a companion sheet. And we could fill that out a little bit later. I want to get the core character done first. So not only will we have this companion, we will also receive exceptional training. On any of your turns when your beast companion doesn't attack, you can use a bonus action to command the beast to take the dash, disengage, dodge, or help action this turn. So that means you can use your bonus action to give yourself advantage via the help action. Now, I will say, there has been some official errata that has tweaked the wording and the powers of the Beastmaster Ranger specifically. And it would do you a world of good to catch up on those. It's freely available. In fact, I believe the updated link should be right there. Run off to the restroom, be right back. No problem, Josh. And now we can think about our stats, right? Now we have our toys that we're playing with. And we have continued to develop our character, right? Underdark stuff. Was trained in the Underdark. And then the coast. we use the standard array 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8 to drop into our ability scores. I think as this kiddo, he's going to be very dexterous, very wise. Maybe not the most intelligent. $15, 14, 13, 10, 12, 10, and 8 strength. If we do this, this is going to become a 17 dex, and this is going to become a 13 int. And now we have 4 points that we can drop into this character because we received a stat bump at level 4 and level 8. We could do something, we could do a little rounding up, right? 1, 2. We could cap him off at level 20 if we really wanted to. However, you know what? 3, 4. If we go about this, and you can contend that they should be distributed differently. If so, throw it in chat. This is not my character. I'm fine considering other options. If you have an explanation for them. -1 for strength, 4 dex, 0 con. Remember, it's a kid. Probably not the health. I mean, healthiest isn't like, yeah, I'll take all the hits ever. 2, 3, 1. Whoop, our strength saving throw is going to be a +2, actually. Sorry about that. And our dex is going to be a 7. Two, 2, 2, 2, 2 with a 5 right here with investigation. There we go. We filled in our numbers. Coast. So it could be a like ocean or seaside coast, or we could be talking about a shore like a Great Lake or something along those lines. Would a flump make a good companion for this not really a child high elf? I think so, says Trust a Flump. And you can trust a Flump because he says he's not biased. And only people who aren't biased can say that. Duh. Our passive perception is huge. Look at that, 17. It's 10 plus your perception modifier, and that represents your natural awareness. Saves you just a ton of headaches and dice rolls. It's good stuff. Good carryover from 4th edition, by the way. And congratulations, everyone. We have not just a set of numbers, but we have a name. So if you're thinking of a name for this child, Spy, then you are welcome to offer it in chat. Armor class. If we're wearing leather, that's 11 plus dexterity is 14, but we have defensive fighting style, so that's going to be a 15. And if we're wielding a shield, also that would go to 17. So if we go like 2 short swords, and or if we go short sword and a shield, that's what we're getting. Short swords are finesse weapons, so we can use them even though it's a melee weapon. We can use dexterity, so we're attacking with a +7. Our longbow is going to be a dexterity-based weapon as well. 1d6 plus 3 piercing, And 1d8 plus 3 piercing. Our initiative is going to be at a +4 because that is a dex check. Our current hit points, you get your maximum at level 1 of your hit die, so that's 10. Our remaining 7 levels of 8 are going to be half +1, so 6. Then all of our levels, all 8 of them, are going to get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. So that'll be rather easy as we have 8 times 0. So that's going to be a 0. So we have 42 plus 10 is 52. Our Child Prodigy Ranger Spy / Pickpocket has 52 hit points. And a decent AC also. If we're going to cast a spell that requires an attack, Rangers cast off of Wisdom. So 3 plus 3, we're attacking with a +6. Add another 8 to that because that's just what you do. It's always add 8 to your attack, and your save DC becomes 14. Wisdom, we had a 14 and a +6. We have 4 and 3 for our spell casting slots. And from a high elf, we get one cantrip that will be intelligence based. And we haven't decided that yet. What would he learn? And if he was going to learn it, did he learn it in the Underdark, which is apparently where he trained first? All of it twisted the second. Earl Athen? What's the inspiration to that 12-sided? All right, now, our spells known. We're going to know 2 spells at 2nd level. So, level 2 and level 2. At level 3, we get a 3rd. And we get a 4th at level 5. And another one at level 7. There we go. So I haven't picked out the spells just yet, and and we also haven't picked out the companion. We can certainly do so. But we're not a prepared spell list class. Like we have these available to us, and we'll want to sit down and figure out what those are, including that cantrip. But you know what? Now that we have the basics, we have our character. We have a good image of our character. There's just a couple things, what happened? How do we have this Child Prodigy Ranger Spy? What was the process? What all happened? Is this a psionic mind swap? Is this like Face Off? Is this a government program? Is this kind of a Potemkin village? Where Russian, so a Potemkin village is a, it's sort of a mock-up village, or, it's something considered like where Russians would be raised as Americans to infiltrate the United States and be Russian spies, even though they would have been raised with the accent and they would have been raised with some standards and whatnot because of this sort of fake village. So do we have a high elf who might be a drow or an agent of the drow that has been raised in this kind of Potemkin village? Hey, Delcorin. You like that this is a drow agent? So we can play around with that idea some. Although I'm going to have to get up and take a little bit... oh, well, Hypnotic, I hope you can take some Advil or something for that. Well, still, I mean, hang out with us and hopefully the lilting, soothing sound of my voice can assist you in remedying your headache. It explains so much that way, not just naturally gifted, but raised from birth to be this spy. Ah, yes, because especially culturally, drow they're not afraid of making child soldiers. They're not afraid of, a lot of these social taboos that, whatever proper elves or whatnot might have. They wouldn't have that. And especially if it comes down to stuff like breeding programs, right? To form a pedigree, that you're trying to get certain traits. And even if that is either magically or mundanely to breed in or out certain cosmetic appearances. The drow, this could be a drow. Like if you test the genetics, except it's like an albino drow. There's really no pigment or other skin coloration. And so we have this high elf in appearance because that is how the child was made, magically or through this process. That soothing voice should also help my stomach problems and sleep. You want to sleep early tonight. If you have to sleep, Hypnotic Gamer, go to sleep. I appreciate you being here, you know that. But if you got to rest up and you got to feel better, then please do so. All right, so think about this a little bit longer. And when at the end of the session tonight, we can come back and fill in spells and whatnot, because that's also going to help dictate the... that's going to help dictate some of the things that... like how this person was raised. And in fact, this could explain that our high elf cantrip is what drow get dancing lights, I think, as a racial magic. Let me double check. Drow magic. Yep, the dancing lights cantrip. Once you reach so that could explain how dancing lights. Well, of course, all high elves are taught cantrips, and my parents taught me dancing lights. Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine, Hypnotic. Enjoy it. If it helps you relax and feel better, have fun. So actually, I kind of like that. So for our high elf, or we can even put quotation marks around that, let's give him dancing lights, because as a drow, I mean, that's what they can help instill. Yeah, don't feel bad. Oh, I'm loving. I love how the story's rolling out. It's playing out, and we also have a neutral good character. And for the drow, you're like, well, how does that work? And you have to ask yourself, is this neutral good for drow culture? And if that's the case, would that actually make this ranger, this spy, neutral evil to everyone outside their culture? But then again, if they're raised to exist outside of that, So in this case, it would actually be like a government, like a Black Works project or something, like the super secret stuff. And so you actually have drow that are raising kids not in the drow culture to embrace other ideals, maybe to go out and gather information. Or remember, we rolled randomly. Oh, you know how well this works out? Pardon. Celestials and fiends are the hunting targets. Fiends, demons. Drow, not that drow wouldn't work with devils or Yugoloths, but for sure they work with demons through Lolth, especially. So why would this kind of Project X or whatever character be made? For what purpose? Especially if it can hunt celestials and fiends. Is this kind of an atheistic branch? Is this sort of a separation of church and state style, like, you know, government, like skunk works style, you know, program to make internal enforcement for their own people? Right? So that people don't summon too many demons or call in favors from too many celestial entities, or just learn to handle both of them, because if there's fiends, there's going to be celestials. A sleeper spy. Yeah, there could be some sort of a hypnotic suggestion. And so this high elf child could have even been deposited, right? Was raised in a, you know, in this environment for like 5 years, was given a hypnotic magical suggestion, and then sort of like given up for adoption in a high elf community, and is just awaiting activation of some kind. That could be interesting as well. Welcome back, Josh the NES nerd. Like the CIA and the projects they ran in the 60s. Yeah, 12-sided. Hypnotic suggestion. My name is Hypnotic. I'll give a suggestion. Hypnotic, your boss gave me a Snickers at work. Oh, and he bought you lunch on Tuesday? It was so nice of him then. Oh, man. So look at this. This story has been unfolding. The story has been unfolding continuously over the character creation, and I think it's getting better and better and more refined. And we're coming up with so many cool ideas for our character as a player, let alone step back, put on your DM cap, and think about this. If you had a player bring this character sheet up to you, or if you sat down like we're doing now and we colluded from DM to player, there's an entire adventure, several, in this one character alone. Let alone the other two that we've already developed. And how can we weave that together? Especially because there is another high elf, right? We have Sylvia Shadowleaf, right? She's young. She's only 48 years old. She looks like an adult. I mean, adulthood for by the book elves is at 100. But she's 48, so she's young also. She is this nature cleric. And here we have a very young high elf that is also someone who's steeped in nature as a ranger, especially as a beastmaster. And you know what we were taught? Oh my goodness. Black Wolf, are you out there? If you're out there, Black Wolf, let me know. I have a catchphrase for you. You know what that catchphrase is? This stuff writes itself. You even just said it the other day. Shame on you. We discussed with her being an urchin, right? Something happened, and she was also, like, she lost her parents, or something happened where she was just sort of thrust out into the wilds, which is when she was taken in by a mentor. I owe a debt I can never repay to the person who took pity on me. The low are lifted up and the high and mighty are brought down changes the nature of things. I'll never trust anyone other than myself. We said also as an urchin, because you do get a pet. And it says like a pet mouse. And we even went to the newspaper. Pet cat, pet bird. Wait a minute. A small creature that you can't really take, that can't take care of itself too much. What if that pet could be a prompt for her having a child? Now, we're discussing a baby, so kind of like lone wolf and cub. What if this character, this ranger that we brought up as a sleeper agent for the drow or whatever, it doesn't matter, was given to Sylvia, and that is Sylvia's pet, especially because the baby comes with a pet of its own. And wouldn't that be something? Should you do something about this, Hypnotic? I seem to be in a Dickens mood tonight, so Project Fagin to train child pickpocketing spies. Yes, Zuller Pie. We're going Oliver to use the Northern Common accent in the Tuesday game. Sylvia stole my name. She's wielded me and is a spy. What should I do about this? We could make some awesome connections between these characters if we want to. And so here, he was raised and sort of in his own way left to be an urchin, except if he's a sleeper agent, he has this hypnotic suggestion. He looks like a child, but he can just outright, like, murder you if the time is right. It's a he. Project Pickwick, perhaps? As in the Pickwick Papers. I'm not familiar with the Pickwick Papers, 12-sided. And then lastly, because I do want to make sure I'm reinforcing this, if you ever need inspiration, and I think we found a lot already, pardon me, go to your local newspaper and open it up, and if you find yourself lacking, especially as a dungeon master, but even as a player character, or as a player of a character, what comes to mind? If we need to fill in some kind of story, for example, we're talking about some sort of criminal underworld. Let's take a look at the jail bookings for Wednesday, May 22nd. So here are the people who were booked into the Erie County Jail on Wednesday. And if we take a look, so here's someone who is booked for theft, a bench warrant, attempted possession of heroin, possession of drug abuse instruments, and possession of drugs. Possession of meth. A bench warrant. And image isn't showing up for some reason. There we go. Receiving stolen property and a parole violation. These could be people in this Thieves Guild or Thieves Guild. That's the criminal contact. That's the spy network. Violating a protection order. Telephone harassment? Hey, look. If someone learns the sending spell and they abuse it, what do you do? Probation violation. Contempt of court. We can find inspiration for our network from real life. What happens? What do people get in trouble for doing? You know, here you want to talk about a pet? Here, this one was from today. Woman was charged with animal cruelty. Let's see. The county dog warden seized a starved dog from a Pierce Street home last week. Sandusky police cited Kimberly Haroof of Pierce Street in Sandusky with misdemeanor animal cruelty. A code enforcement officer called the police May 16th after 2 caged dogs were found in a home that had animal feces and a strong urine odor, according to a Sandusky police report. Police found 1 dog in a cage containing feces and urine, but believed the dog was in good health, the report states. Another dog was found in a cage covered by a sheet, and the dog looked starved. Haroof told police people in the home couldn't handle the dog, and that a minor owned the animal, according to the report. Police told her that a minor couldn't legally own a dog, and later found that the dog's tag was in Haroof's name. Erie County dog warden took the dog from the home and to the dog pound, the report states. Officers gave Haroof a court summons. Does our criminal contact you know, do dog fighting on the side. You know, there was someone who was receiving stolen property. Is that contact offense of some kind? How does the spy network work? You know, we had a code that story talked about a code enforcement officer working for the local government that would go around and check on, you know, dilapidated homes or people who don't mow their grass and other things like that that could lead to trouble. And you can see here, it saved the lives of 2 dogs. And so, is this a beneficent organization of people? Kind of like the Harpers in Forgotten Realms. Yes, Chicky. The Pickwick Papers, also known as the posthumous papers of the Pickwick Club, was the first book of Dickens, where a man named Pickwick forms a traveling society who are able to travel about and report on their travels. Oh, very cool, 12-sided, and I learned something then. So yes, you can see that there's a great many ways that you can find inspiration just around your own town. Dessins, hello and welcome. Things are going well. In fact, Dessins, you arrived just as I'm about ready to go on break. But I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna stretch. I'm gonna refresh myself, and when we come back, we're gonna make another character. Man, the character we made is awesome tonight so far. And I mean, all our characters have just been better and better, especially because they're automatically amplifying each other. As we're going through this process, just the connections are there, and we don't even have to try that hard. So hang tight, refresh yourselves, and I'll be back in a little bit, and we will make another character here.